This production comes to you in association with the Bluebell Warrington. Situated in an 18th century building in the town centre and just a 5-minute walk from the HJ Stadium, the Bluebell is the perfect destination for pre- and post-game food and drink. The 2024 Warrington Pub of the Year is now the official home of Super League Raw on Warrington World Match Days for both home and away supporters. Super League Raw are delighted to have agreed a members-only area, allowing our community to come together to discuss rugby league pre- and post-match. So set your course to the Bluebell Warrington on match days and beyond. You are sure to be greeted with a warm welcome and a cold beer. Super League Raw and the Bluebell, the perfect partnership in enhancing your match day experience. Well, there you go. Good evening and welcome to Super League Raw Weekly. Good to have you. Yes, 24 hours delayed because, of course, we were all at Super League Raw Live last night at the Bluebell. Magnificent evening. Before we get into that, don't forget, like, comment and subscribe. Get your comments in the chat. We will, of course, be giving you your shout-outs throughout the show. Good evening to Dawn Kirby, and a big thank you to Dawn. She travelled the most miles, as did Craig, all the way from Hull to Warrington to be there last night. They had an absolutely wonderful, wonderful evening. Boys, we didn't know what to expect. It was the first time we were going to do it, Reggie boy, but we pulled it off. It was a good night.
It was a top night. It was. I must admit, I was a bit nervous thinking, oh, we're going to be sat there all night just talking between ourselves. But no, I mean, big thank you to everybody who came out last night and joined in. And yes, Greg, Boyzone really have let themselves go. You're right about that.
Yeah. By all accounts, Steph was going to stand up at the key change, by all accounts. But
that was Westlife, that. Get your boy bands right.
It was.
We even had a bit of Elvis last night, which was fantastic.
Yeah. To finish the show, you know, Dave does a bit of Elvis. God, I was rusty, though. I've not sang for 4 years. Somebody's already done the QR code. Thank you very much to whoever that individual is. Hopefully we get some new members tonight during the course of the show. The QR code is at the top there. Go and check out all of our packages for you. It'd be great if you come and join this #1 community. Steph, I thought Ian Smith was great value last night.
Yeah, really, really good. It was, again, goes back to the theme of us getting the referees and speaking with referees. And I thought he spoke brilliantly, and it was really good to get an insight into, you know, what he did his career and things like that. So, yeah, it was really good to have him there.
Yeah, he sold about over a dozen of his books, I think, last night, signed them as well. They are still available. All the proceeds from Ian's books are going to go to the State of Mind charity and to Parkinson's Oldham. If you've not got Ian's book and you want to learn more about what it's like to be a full-time referee, drop us a line here at Super League Raw. We'll put you in touch with Ian. It would be fantastic if you would support him. Chris, who owns the Bluebell, of course, our main principal sponsor for this season, he was blown away. He was expecting a Warrington fest and he couldn't believe it. Last night in the room, we had KR, we had Lee, we had Salford, we had Warrington, we had Huddersfield. I'm probably missing somebody out when I say Wigan. Yes, of course.
Yeah, Wigan.
So that's it. That's half the league. That's half the league on a Tuesday night in Warrington represented. That is what this community is all about, bringing people together for the love of rugby league. It was outstanding, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, as I say, I was nervous. Just hats off to everybody. It was a great hats off to you, Dave. You did a fantastic job. I've got to say that.
Thank you.
From a professional journalist to somebody who's never had any media training, mate, you smashed it last night. I tell you, that was really, really good. Great to see everybody in there chatting away, swapping stories, chatting with Ian Smith, chatting with the players that turned up. Brilliant night. I can't praise it high enough. It blew me away. It really did.
Well, it was the first time I think all of us had met Matt. Matt's a member here at Super League Raw. He came along, Salford Red Devils fan, and let's be fair, at the moment he could be falling out with rugby league, but he's not. He still loves it, and he said it was incredible. Anybody out there thinking of becoming a member, get involved, get signed up. There will be more excellent evenings like this coming up. There will, absolutely. That's the aim. Matt, outstanding. Also, Craig Forth, we've already mentioned Craig as well. The Valentines were there. Some great support coming over from Huddersfield as well. It was just absolutely outstanding. Really,
I thought Matt and the Fabulous Valentines was a band.
Well, yeah, but no, I say just heartwarming. It was absolutely wonderful evening. We will be doing another one. Please do get involved. I don't know where Reggie's gone. He's gone somewhere. But
I'm here.
Back. But yeah, no, absolutely outstanding. We will be doing more Super League Raw lives in the future. My wife did record large portions of it, so we'll put little teaser trailers out. But of course, it won't be the whole thing. You got to come, folks. But you've got to be there. But like I say, everybody who came had a great night. Eorl was outstanding. Bennett was, typical Bennie, just fun and games. It was just a really good mix.
He brought his old fan club with him.
Oh yeah. That was fun. But look, outstanding. Thank you everybody that made the pilgrimage. We really do appreciate it, and hopefully those in attendance enjoyed the titles. I thought the titles actually summed the night up. Really good chat, good banter, a lot of smiles. It was outstanding. So thank you everybody for the last time. Right, like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to get in the chats. Let's give a few shout outs. They're already flying in, so let's go and do it. Craig Forth in, Rebecca Frey, she's with us. AD West is back. Hello AD mate, good to see you. Don Kirkby got home safe and sound. Aidan Simpson is with us as well. Bassett Kingston, me and him will be doing Under the Floodlights tomorrow. There you go, that's another member benefit. We get to know our members here at Super League Raw. Bassett Kingston is going to be Under the Floodlights, his rugby league journey, what got him into the sport, his favourite stories. We are a community here, and we make sure that all of our members have their own special show so that we get to know each other intimately better, because we are a community. Would you like to be a part of that? Would you like your own Under the Floodlights? You know what to do. Do the QR code, ladies and gentlemen. If you're listening to this on any of the podcasts, in the description is the link, www.patreon.com/Super League Raw. Good evening to Carrie. Carrie's with us. Christy Bergin. I think she's been with us before. Sorry. I think so. I think she has, but or he. I've got that wrong once before, haven't I? But anyway, great to have you there.
He's been here before, yes.
Absolutely. Kev Worrell is with us as well. Good to see you, Kev, and he's happy that last night was a success. It really was. We missed you, mate. Hopefully you can come to the next one. Why is Steph's chair on the right hand side? Probably because he's not flipped his camera around. We'll keep giving you your shout outs. Right up in the top corner of the screen, you will see that another sponsor of ours. Again, massive thank you to the Bluebell last night. Great host, brilliant. The staff looked after us really well down there. Thanks to Chris and everybody down at the Bluebell. But we've also got another sponsor this year, Warrington Wolves Supporters Trust Squad Builder. Now, this is a belter. Now, we are going to be there. The Super League Raw team is going to be there. But this is coming up on the 5th of February. All proceeds going to send the academy side to Australia at the end of the season. Tickets are going fast. They already sold about 180 tickets. They're expecting about 260. So you've got to get a wriggle on this. But brilliant value. £25 for the ticket. Wednesday, the 5th of February, 6:30 p.m. at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. It will be Eddie Hemmings in conversation with Sam Burgess. You also get a curry supper as well as part of that. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you're in and around the Warrington area and you want to listen to Big Sam, that is what you need to do. You need to make sure that you're a part of that. Do come and join us. We will be there, the entire gang, Joel, me, and Steph. Apologies from Joel, he might be dropping in later. He's got a lot on the line at the moment because of his house move and what have you. So he'll be with us in a minute. Before we start getting into
I'll be there too.
Absolutely. We're all there. We're all there. Every single one of us. Right. Just a couple of little things. We're passionate here on Super League Raw about the great game of rugby league. Up on your own team's websites right now will be the academy and reserve fixtures for 2025. Normally, season ticket holders get in for free. If you're not a season ticket holder, you can probably go and watch a game of rugby league, and it's a really good standard of rugby league as well for about 10 quid, maybe 5. It's in and around that range. And, speaking as a Warrington fan, I don't speak as a Warrington fan a lot on this. I tend to not really mention that too much because, as you know, I'm impartial when I do this show and I try and be as fair to all teams. I let Greg deal with the Warrington side of it, as you all know. But it's been a privilege for me because I've been watching the Warrington Wolves Academy and Reserves now for the past 3 years. I saw Aaron Lindop come through. I've seen Kai Taylor-Ray, Nolan Tapea, the rest. There'll be players of equal caliber in your size. And let me tell you now, it does make you very happy when these kids break through and people go, we're interested to see how this kid goes. And rather than go, yeah, you can go, well, actually, let me tell you about him, because you've watched him. So it's a real great opportunity. So please go onto your team's website over the next few days, get the reserves and academy fixtures in your phones. And if you can, go down, support them. It's a great standard of rugby league. See tomorrow's talent today. Shout out to Wakefield Trinity. They've already started advertising their rugby camps for the coming half term, 17th of February to the 20th of February. If you're in and around the Wakefield area and your kids play rugby league and they're aged between 6 and 11, their camps start from £15 a day and £50 for a full week. Get rid of your kids in half term for 50 quid. Sounds like a bargain to me. Get yourself down there, you Trinity fans. And staying with Trinity, let's not forget this coming Friday night, Luke Gale's testimonial against the Castleford Tigers, the 2017 Man of Steel, going up against his former side. That is on Friday. And let me tell you now, Wakefield, pretty much their full-strength squad. So if you're a Wakey fan and you want to see how your team look going into the new season, then why not go and support Luke Gale at his testimonial? Cass fans as well. He played really well for you. Make sure you get down there and you support as well. Adults can get in for a tenner. Under 16's £5. Happy days. Right, that's us just casting our eye over what's going on in the coming week. We like to give a big shout out to these things. We do a lot of great work rugby league in the local community. So there's a few things that I thought that might interest you. Right, let's get into this show. Here we go. We enjoyed this last week. Mark Hill thought it was absolutely fantastic. So guess what? It's back again, boys. Be at the ready. It's time once again. Banging or hanging. Hanging or banging, he's back. Right, Greg, it's starting with you. Danny Walker till 2029. Hanging
Great
or banging?
News. Banging news. Great news. I think he served his apprenticeship under Daz Clark really well. Local lad, really pleased to see this. I think with Powell in the squad as well, I think it's two very, very good hookers that kind of balance each other out, bring different things to the team. So yeah, definitely for me that's banging. Not going to Australia, we're not losing more talent to Australia. Can only be a good thing.
Can only be a good thing. Well done, Greg. That's a good start. We now go over to Steph Sale. Here it comes. Heverington, Lens, London, a helping hand. Hanging or banging?
Well, I think when you're looking at rugby league CEOs, Heverington's right up there with one of the best, most experienced. I think any help London can get is a really good thing, and obviously it's a network for Hetherington as well and the people he knows, and it sounds like there's a potential NRL takeover of London, which he's assisting with. So for me, rugby league in the capital and this guy involved in it, it's got to be banging.
It's banging. 2 bangings in a row. Are we going to have 3 bangings in a row? Well, it's going to be over to Greg, because the next one is going to be this one. Salford fans demanding refunds for the season tickets. What are your thoughts?
Not sure about this one. I can understand where they're coming from, but if ever Salford need the fans to get behind them, it's now. So I'm afraid Salford fans in the chat might shout at me, but I'm gonna err on the side of hanging for this one, because I think while the future of the club until the future of the club is kind of set, I think the Salford fans need to get behind the club and keep their money in there as long as he possibly can. If the rumours are true about this consortium in Australia that's going to come in and buy Salford out, then come on, let's give it a bit longer. Keep your money in the club. Don't be taking any more money out of the club. So hanging for me, I think.
Thank you for that, Mr. Nixon. We bring Mr. Sale back over to you, Mr. Sale. Mike McMeekin takes the Trinity armband, hanging a banging.
Yeah, I think a really good move for me, this one. Obviously, Mike's great experience, done really well at Catalan, and obviously coming back to Yorkshire now. So, I think he's a leader. I think it's going to be a really good move for them, and I think some of the younger players there will really benefit from his captaincy. So it's an absolute banging one for me, this.
Last year's episode of In Conversation featuring Mike McMeekin available now on YouTube as we go back to Greg for the final one. Sam Burgess. What's the loop fixtures, Greg? Hanging a banging.
Yeah, again, I understand why we have the loot fixtures because we've only got 12 teams in the league. So I can understand fully why we have them. But, as a lot of fans have been saying, kind of the big clashes like the Warrington Wiggins, the Saints Wiggins, the other local derbies, they're kind of been watered down a bit. It's a bit like the Scottish Premiership, whereby Celtic and Rangers play each other 4 times a year. I think we played Saints 5 times in one season a couple of years ago because of Challenge Cup and loot fixtures. I think it was Saints. So, the only thing is, the Super League teams keep voting not to expand the league. So what do we replace them with? But, for me, I think to push the game, every game has to be an event. And we're kind of watering that down a little with the loot fixtures, I think. So, for me, hanging.
Fantastic. Great sport. Wonderful stuff. Absolutely loving that, gentlemen. Right, let's see what everybody has to say.
Banging, not hanging. He wants to get rid of him. So, okay. Sorry. Banging.
Yeah, a lot hanging around Salford. Lots of hanging around Salford. A lot of people staying. Craig Forth is an example here. There's Craig's thoughts on it. The more Salford fans buy tickets, the more that it will be more attractive to an investor. Absolutely. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Greg Roach is saying expand the league. That's where Greg's at. Expand the league. Well, of course, first things first, we've got to maintain the ones we've actually got.
Yeah.
Which is going to be interesting. And over, of course, from Vancouver, he joined the Super League Raw membership last week. It was Paul Fail from Vancouver. Evening, fellas and everyone. Sorry he's a bit late, but he's got a note from his mum all the way over in Vancouver. And hold the presses. Yes, whoever did that QR code there now, a proud member, William Webster. Good evening to you, sir. He has just joined the membership. Why not join him? Become a member. The QR code is up there in the top. We need 14 teams, says Carl Shaw. I think in the main, boys, I think everybody's agreeing with your hanging and banging assessment. I think it's fair to say it's a great addition to the show as we go forward into the new year. We'll just bring another couple of things to the fore. McNamara, we spoke about the disciplinary rule changes in depth last week. If you didn't see that, then go and check out last week's show. McNamara's come out and said he doesn't particularly like it. He thinks there's a lot of work that still needs to be done on it. He's a little bit concerned. I think actually went back to something that you said, Steph, in terms of somebody else has just scanned the QR code. Will we get another member? We'll keep an eye on that. But
could we go for the record tonight?
Well, who knows? Who knows? It could be a record now. That'd be marvellous, wouldn't it? But Steph, I think it was yourself who said, last year, the last few, McNamara said it, if with 2 or 3 games to go, a player got a lengthy ban, and they were due to go, potentially get into the grand final. That's where he was coming from. That was your sentiment last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's one of those where I'm kind of coming round to it in terms of I think we need to see how it goes, and we're always calling for people to change things and make things better, but then as soon as they do something, we jump straight on them. So for me, hopefully I think it's going to work. This I think it just needs a few little things ironing out, and we'll get to a good place with it. And I think we'll actually see reductions in bans.
Yeah. At the moment, Greg, I'm pretty much in favour of this.
Well, I've been calling for a change to the system for a while, as you all know. I think Sam Burgess, as well, was quoted last week as saying they'd only just found out about the changes when they went to press, when they were released in the media, which isn't brilliant. But on the whole, we need a change. We've got change. I think they need to get rid of the disciplinaries hanging over from last season, a new system, start from zero. I think that's the thing that is kind of worrying most people, coaches especially. And Steph said last week, you know, you could end up with players playing one game and then not playing for 8 weeks, 9 weeks. So
we did say it's the minority, isn't it? I think
it is.
agreement.
Even if it is the minority, we still want the best players on the pitch.
It needs to be a level playing field. That's where it is for me. And you've got people coming over from Australia or whatever. They're going to start on 0, and others that are starting on 10. To me, that just doesn't sit right. I think once the season ends, it should be over. But yeah, like I said, let's see how it goes. And it'll need those tweaks, but it'll
other sports don't carry their disciplinary points or whatever over to the following season.
No.
I know the Rugby League likes to be different, but on this one, I think this is the only kind of sticking point that there is at this moment in time.
Yeah. Fair enough. Phil Webster there saying he can't agree with the 2024 carryover, and by all accounts, William Webster is Phil's brother. Great to have the brothers in the house. Outstanding stuff. Let us know what your thoughts are on this new feature, hanging or banging, in the chat. Do you like it? And we banging or hanging. Outstanding stuff.
Someone else
Always looking to freshen it up, boys. Right, okay. Well, you know, we saw last week we did the Warrington Wolves squad. They're off in Tenerife at this moment in time. We saw Sam's views a few moments ago there in terms of, we talked about him not liking the Luke fixture. And I had a couple of minutes in his company at the Warrington Wolves Media Day, and I just grabbed him for a quick chat.
So here we are with Sam, just ahead of the new season. Sam, how's it looking going into 2025?
It's pretty cold at the minute, so we've just been getting as much done as we can, but that's good. We were, obviously we're 12 months further on where we were last year, so a lot of progression, but just trying to tidy up a few things. We'll see how it goes when the games come around, and it's funny, we back to the start, and you've got to build your blocks all over again.
The one question I really want to ask you, and I know the people that watch us will want to ask you, is coaching the young kids. I mean, you'll get asked about the likes of George and that all the time, but this year, got the likes of Nolan Tapeu, who's on the team sheet this year. England played for England last year at a certain level. Kai broke through last year. Aaron Lindop. From a coaching perspective, is that where the pleasure comes from on the coaching field? Bringing these kids on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I get loads of enjoyment out of every aspect of it, but it's good seeing the young kids come through and develop. Sort of the young men or young sort of boys, some of them turn into young men, so but they've handled themselves really well. They had a good fit of it last year, so looking forward to them seeing them progress again this year.
And they'll be pushing the 1 to 17 all the way, won't they?
Absolutely, that's the job.
Well, good luck in Vegas. Good luck with that one, and good luck for the season. Cheers, Sam.
Cheers.
More of that coming this year. Mr. Burgess will be having a few conversations with him as the season goes. Appreciative that it wasn't the established players that I wanted to talk to him about. Obviously, very proud of the young lads coming through there at Warrington.
Some good players coming through, as there is at a lot of clubs.
Absolutely. We listed a load last night at the live event, didn't we? Bill, it's bringing up on the screen your name, which on YouTube. So I can't change what you've put into YouTube, but if you want to be called Bill, you're a friend. Why not? We'll call you Bill. Don't you worry about that. Not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. Right. Oh, hey up. Here, news just in. Bazza Kingston has just upgraded to be a Team Talk member for 2025. Big Bazza in the house. Go on, lad. No, what a top man. There you go. Another one that you're going to be listening to on the Final Whistle podcast. For those who have not been around Super League Raw, every Sunday, our Team Talk members will be discussing the weekend's action, and that will be put out as a podcast where our members are the star of their own show. That goes out on a Monday morning. Bazza Kingston will be getting an invite to every single one this year, and we will look forward to his input. Patreon.com/Super League Raw, the place you need to go. Become a member. Join our wonderful, wonderful community. Right, let's get into some more squads then, boys. Last week, we discussed the Wigan Warriors, the Warrington Wolves. Now we're going to move on to Eorl, Dawn. Dawn's going to be happy, and Phil's going to be happy, and Bill's going to be happy, because it's the time that we go and have a look at Hull KR, last year's beaten finalists. Let's take a look at their departures first and foremost. Tom Opperchick, of course, left. Ryan Hall, a lot of KR fans emotional about that one. Wish him, I'm sure, nothing but the best. Greg, me, and you for 4 years have waxed lyrical over Matty Parcell.
Yeah.
You know, what a pro, what a player. He is going to be missed in 2025, but we wish Matt well. George King, of course, he's gone over to the Huddersfield Giants. Matty Staunton has left as well. Reese Butterworth. Right, what they replaced him with? Well, Tom Davis, of course, a direct replacement for Ryan Hall on the wing. No question about that. King, well, of course, Waraya Hargreaves. We'll get into some, I'm sure we're going to get into that in a minute. But, you know, Waraya Hargreaves comes over. Out goes a lot of experience in Matty Parcell. But they really have strengthening those hooking positions with Mickey McAlorum coming in from Catalan and Bill Leyland coming in from London. You know, Bill Leyland, a real quality player. 2023 was outstanding for London. Real shame that he weren't there last year. But believe me, this kid's a player. Anybody who thinks it's going to be a cakewalk for Mickey McAlorum to be on the bench, I'm telling you it's not. Bill Leyland's going to be absolutely outstanding. Then perhaps the real signing, Reece Martin. You know, his goal kicking. What's that going to do to this team? Just to give him a bit of strength in depth in and around the halves, Danny Richardson's come across from Castleford, Aribi Duro from Warrington, and Leon Ruan from Leeds Rhinos. Right then, lads, that's where it is. Oh, hang on a minute. Hold the presses. This just in. Carl is now a Team Talk member, a new member. There you go. They're all flying in this evening. They all
could be a record-breaking night.
Yeah, they all want to be a part of Super League Raw in 2025. And why wouldn't you be? Your heritage numbers will be making their way to you in the next 24 hours, guys. Great to have you coming in. Carl, it looks like he's a Hull fan. It doesn't say if it's FC, though, or KR. Hull Rocks is his email address. So it's one of them. Which one is it, Carl? Get in the chat. Let us know. It's going to be interesting. Right, let's get into this then, chaps. Let's get into this. Greg, I'm going to start with you. Beaten finalists last year at Hull KR. But phenomenal season, play some wonderful rugby league. I think the first question is strengthened or weakened?
I think strengthened, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
If Tom Davis can stay fit, he's a great winger. Michael McAlorum, if he can stay on the pitch and not get banned, he's a great player. The same goes with Waraya Hargreaves as well. Really, really looking forward to seeing this guy on the pitch. A legend of the game. You know, and I don't use that word very often, but he is a legend of the game as far as I'm concerned. Hope that he plays a lot of minutes. Danny Richardson, for me, has been a steady pro. And has been somebody who hasn't let the teams he's played for down a lot of times from what I've seen. And then you got Reece Martin. I mean, for me, he could very, very well be that final piece in the jigsaw that pushes Hull KR over the line next season. You know, surprise Leeds let him go. But I think he scores tries. People know all about his goal kicking, but he scores tries as well.
Yeah.
I think, you know, for all your Hargreaves and your McAlorums and your Davises, I think Reece Martin might be that piece of the puzzle that they missed last season to get them over the final line.
Steph, we looked at Warrington. I think we all agreed that, you know, Wigan have stood still, but as quadruple champions, they can probably afford to do so. You know, they've only brought in the young lad from Oldham this season. Warrington pretty much probably on a par, albeit we did give Warrington their raps last week to say that Warrington were the best. You know, scored the most points and conceded the least points. So again, from a Sam Burgess perspective, maybe he didn't feel that he needed to move it around too much. Hull KR, without doubt, they of the top three last year, they've had the biggest change in personnel. Greg said it's a strengthened side. Is this side a genuine risk now to the Wigan Warriors?
Absolutely. I mean, the side they had last year only lost to them by one try in the grand final. And if you look at the departures, yes, I think you've got to highlight Ryan Hall and Matt Parcell are probably the two big losses for them. But then when you think you're changing Hall for Tom Davis, who's a brilliant winger in his own right, and a younger player as well. So obviously you've got a bit more longevity with him to fit into this team. But then also at the hooking role, yes, Parcell's been fantastic, but they brought in Mickey McAlorum, who we all know is a really good, solid, experienced Super League hooker. But then with Bill Leyland backing him up, and like you say, Dave, I think if we're looking at who's potential standout player, that's going to burst onto the scene, I think Bill Leyland could be that player.
Yeah, I'm really, I completely agree. I think Bill Leyland is one to watch. Let's hope he gets a bit
look. And let's not forget Jez Litton with the number 9 shirt.
Yeah, Jez, the rightful successor, no doubt about it. Anyway, Carl, just quickly, Reggie, Carl back in there. He's made up to be a member. Carl's joined tonight. He's a Team Talk member. We'll get him on the Final Whistle podcast this year. Keep it the good work. Hull KRs will not lose at home this season. The support is the 14th man. Incredible. And on that note, they've already sold out Craven Park for round 1. And hold the presses. We have now got another new member, Declan Cartel. I hope I've said that right, but he is now in. He is a Team Talk member. A Six Again member. You are absolutely welcome here at Super League Raw. Keep them coming, guys. Trust me, we're going to be doing more lives, more competitions this year than ever before. It really is. I mean, last night's prizes were incredible. Directors Lounge hospitality, tickets to Toby King, signed shirts. There's loads coming down the track. Don't you worry about that. The Fantasy League is back for 2025. If you join the Super League Raw Fantasy League, which will be a mini league in the main Fantasy League on Super League, main Super League site, you could win a season ticket for 2026. We're going to be giving loads of prizes away this week. You really want to be a part of it. We're all going to Magic together. We're all going to the grand final together, regardless of if our team is there. This is an unbelievable community. If you don't believe me, go and speak to your fellow members. They absolutely love being a part of this community. Sorry for that, boys, but we've got to give these members a shout out when they come.
Of course we
are. For me, Hull KR, Steph, you're spot on. They beat Wigan last season. They were poor in the semi-final. They didn't turn up for the semi-final. The game at the Brit Community was probably one of the top 5 games of the season for me. The KR Wigan game. That was a
Simbin's that day that cost them.
Absolutely. Yeah. They were in control. They were really giving Wigan a really bloody nose that night. And unfortunately, just, as you say, things just peaked away. And Wigan showed the champion side that there are. But I think with these signings, there's no doubt about it. Let's go to the big one. Everybody's on about this guy. Waraya Hargreaves. This guy, he needs no introduction. If he can stay on the field of play, that's the key bit. He's got to adapt to British interpretation to the rules, because we're not as forgiving, dare I say it. We're like Darth Vader over here. We're not as forgiving as we should be. So he's going to be a bit of a problem. But look, 35 years of age, a veteran of the game. He's an absolute animal. Anybody who's watched this guy play trade in Australia, this guy is brutal, absolutely brutal. One of the real proper forwards in the game of the world game. No wonder KR fans are excited. They're also probably a little bit nervous, as is other rugby league fans. But hey, if he can keep himself on the straight and narrow, this guy's a born winner. 316 games in the NRL in probably the toughest position on the field of play. Representing Manly Sea Eagles, Sydney Rooster, 16 tries, 62% win ratio in the NRL. That's not to be sniffed at. Virtually not a million miles off 2 in 3 games. That's incredible. A 3-time NRL winner, 2013, and then back-to-back 18 and 19. He's a New Zealand international. Honestly, I can't wait to watch this guy. I really can. When this guy comes up against Super League's best, the likes of, Paul Vaughan, Alex Worms, the big hitters, Tommy Burgess, come on. There's going to be some massive hits, Greg, and it's what we turn up for, isn't it?
Of course it is. Of course it is, yeah. And, like you say, with him on the pitch against some of the big forwards that have been brought in by other teams, wow. Yeah. Fireworks. And, I hope he can adapt to the game. And I just hope there is more common sense this season around things that go on the pitch, more understanding of what happens when rugby league players go up against one another. Yeah. No, we don't want to see nasty tackles. We don't want to see players going out to hurt other players, but we want a bit of common sense. I think we lost a bit of that last season, and if common sense is applied, and I think it's going to be fantastic watching him. I'm sure Hull KR fans are really, really excited.
Yeah, and
seeing him start running that first ball in.
What I would say to on what Greg's just said there is, as my old health and safety officer at Ford used to say, what the thing is about common sense, don't you, Dave? What's that? It's not common. And it certainly isn't in the Rugby Football League. Do you fear for Hargreaves? Do you think he can adapt this? I mean, let's be fair, it's 35 years. Well, not quite, you get my point. 35 years of muscle memory. Can he get rid of that in 2 years?
Is that for me or Steph?
Steph, mate.
I think he can. I think he's going to have to, because he'll soon find out if he doesn't. This is where it's down to the player, not the rules. And everybody else has got to adapt to the same way we play the game. But I just keep going back to Tyreek Sims' hit on George Williams.
Yeah.
No, we can still have massive hits in this game that we all love to see. One of the biggest attractions of our game is the physicality, and it can be done. But like I say, if he doesn't change and he doesn't do how he should play this game, then he's soon going to find out. But I think he will. I think he'll be fine.
Good evening tonight, Bennie. Evening, guys. Late tonight on nights. I had to do a bit of work today. Go and get yourself a beer, mate. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the boys at Super League Raw, giving you everything you need on a Wednesday evening this week around the great game that is Rugby League. Absolutely outstanding stuff there. Greg Roach, Mr. Roach. I have to say, what a man Mr. Roach is. Another member here at Super League Raw. He's given us a big rap saying the watch-alongs on WhatsApp are fantastic. Banter and fun. You'll be most welcome to be here. Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Sarah there saying that she's actually watching her phone. She can't scan the QR code. Only saw the show because of the man in the white jumper caught her. I don't know who that is. It might have been Bennie, I think. I don't know.
She's on about Steph.
Could have been Steph, could have been Craig. But what I would say, Sarah, patreon.com/Super League Raw. That's all you need to do, and you will be there. Guy in the white jumper is called Handsome Steph, says Greg. You know what? We haven't mentioned it, and I just noticed this and I have to apologise to Lee Kershaw. I didn't mention Lee Kershaw. Lee Kershaw for London last year had a really good season. And again, we know that Tom Davis at times can have the odd niggle. So to have a player like Lee Kershaw there in the background, pretty good news. It's not a spark. It's not one of those signings that gets people excited. But if called upon, I think that's an astute signing, Greg.
Yeah, it's done again. He's one of those players that's done a decent job wherever he's gone, and he scores tries.
Yeah,
quite. I think from what I recall, quite good defensively as well. So it's what you want in a winger.
Yeah.
Somebody who can score a try, somebody who can stop a try at the other end if called upon. So, a solid signing. It's one of those signings, no disrespect to him, that's never going to set the world on fire. But sometimes you need those signings just to give balance to the squad. Yeah,
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Right, so let's get through some final questions here. Get along, keep getting your comments in the chat. We'll keep coming back to you guys. So first of all, then we're going to do the same questions as last week. Who in that squad, Greg, if any, have got a point to prove this season for Hull KR?
Do you know what? Quite possibly Jez Litton, because he's kind of. I wouldn't say on the sidelines, but he's not been able to establish himself as much as I think he would have liked to over the last couple of years. And he's got the number 9 shirt now. So I think quite possibly Jez Litton. And he's got big competition in McAlorum and Leyland as well. So that's who I go for.
Yeah, that'll push. I think point to prove that, but hey, it's all opinions. Steph?
I think there's a real standout for me in terms of someone who went to Hull KR last year and didn't really set the world on fire when they were expecting him to be quite a big signing, and that's Ollie Gildart. I think he's going to need to have a really big season this year. For someone with his experience, what he did at Wigan, obviously going over to the NRL and then coming back here, I think he really needs a big season in the centres for KR. And I think the KR fans, obviously, let's see what they say in the chat, but I think they'll agree with me that he needs a really big season.
Okay, I'll tell you the one for me. All right, because you know me, I like to. I'm not going to go obvious. I'm going to go, and I don't think he's going to get a look in. I think he's probably going to end up out on loan, but he's got to be careful because he came to KR last year in a blaze of glory, a real up and coming player. Plays in the middle unit. AJ Wallace didn't really get a look in last year for KR because the roster's so strong. But this is a player for me who has got everything going for him in the game of rugby league. He can ill afford to sit on the bench or play reserves. He's too good for that. So I think for me, he's probably going to have to go out on loan to prove that point. But AJ Wallace will be my pick out of that, if I was being honest. Right, Greg, back to you. Who at that team are you excited to see in 2025? Who would you pay good money to go and watch?
Well, I've said it already. Mariah Hargreaves.
Yeah.
A box office and NRL legend. That you would pay good money to see a player like that. Definitely.
Looks like Greg has been putting on the Bennie Westwood aftershave. Those who were there last night will get that joke. Steph, you pulled, mate. Somebody's took a bit of fancy to you in your jumper.
Hey, white hoodies are available to buy.
They are indeed. Yes, go over to it. Yes, Super League Raw merch is on its way to everybody. Oh, and actually, on that topic, really, really good news. Those who've gone early on the tour T-shirts, don't worry. Send me your details. You'll get. I'm going to, even though we paid extra for the ones we've currently got. I will honour a discount to you, or you can reapply your £10 discount to a Bobbleat or whatever you want. But I've managed to secure a new supplier for the tour T-shirts. So they're no longer £30, they're £19.99 plus £3 postage and packaging. I've just got to amend that on the Patreon website. We have done tour T-shirts for every team. On the back is all the away fixtures, like a concert T-shirt, but rugby league. Go and check those out on Patreon, and they have come down in price now. £19.99 for your tour T-shirts. If you want those,
bargain,
absolute bargain, real good. Dawn picked hers up last night. She was delighted with hers. Greg got his. I think he's wearing it actually.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Fantastic. If you like your tour T-shirts when you go and see a gig, have a tour T-shirt for your rugby league side. Right, Steph, who are you excited to see, mate?
By the sounds of it.
What do you say, Reggie?
Sarah, by the sounds of it.
I'm a married man. Probably Reece Martin. I mean, I'm excited to see how he goes for Care and if he can fit into their dynamic, which I'm sure he will. I think he is potentially the missing link in terms of the goal kicking. So it'd be really interesting to see how an experienced player like him can fit into that KR side.
Absolutely. Again, I've got to put a big shout out. Our first ever Under the Floodlights member, Mr. Sam Holt, is with us. Young Sammy was our first Under the Floodlights. Sammy Holt, good evening to you, is in the chat. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to pick the same player. Excited to see and rising star. Get ready for Bill Leyland. I can't wait. I was gutted last year that he was injured for London. I really, really was. I think Bill could be that player. Almost the Jez Litton, Jez has done great stuff under Matty Parcell, and I think now Jez has now got to take his head. He's got to now push on now, Jez Litton, and be that figurehead at number 9. And for Bill to come in with the likes of Jez, who's where he's at in his career, and Mickey Mack, I think, he can only get better. So that is where I'm going with that. And then finally, Greg, before we finish on KR, we're not going to give our prediction where they're going to finish. Greg said it. I think we'd all agree. They look a stronger squad on paper. They came very, very close last year. These are the real deal. Sorry, black and white fans, but let me tell you now, you're not going to finish above these this year. And I think it's going to be very difficult viewing from the west to the east side of Hull this year. But Greg, I want to finish with you here. Key player. Who is the key player for this side?
Mikey Lewis. He's the guy. He's the guy that drives them forward. That he's built up a big reputation over the last few seasons. He's got to continue that this season. He's got quite possibly a bigger pack, more experienced pack behind him. So I think the key man again this season. That's probably last season. Mikey Lewis for me. If he carries on the way he played last season and the season before again, another good reason why you can't discount them for being at Old Trafford again at the end of next season.
Fair play. Steph, would you go along with that?
I would, but I'll give a different answer because I think obviously everyone and Reggie's quite rightly going to highlight the reigning man of steel. But I think Peter Hickey. I think moving him to centre from fullback last year was a revelation and completely, changed those first few rounds. But I think he was integral to the successes of that team last year. And I think it takes a bit of time for these players to adapt when they come over. And I think he's in for a really good season. And a bit like what I was saying about Gildart, he needs to probably get up to Hiku's standards for me in that on the other side. So I think he's the one that could potentially have a big impact on him this year.
Absolutely, and Minchella, absolutely. Dawn can't disagree with that. Elliot Minchella, brilliant season last season. Great captain, great leader. For me, I'm going to go along with somebody in the chat said it. I think it was Carl, our new member, Carl Reece Martin, missing piece of the jigsaw. If they can keep Martin on the field with his conversion ratios with the boot, they would have. I'm sorry, Wigan fans. Facts are facts. If Reece Martin's kicking percentage was added to every game for KR last year, they would have won the league leaders' shield. They'd have won it. It's all ifs and buts, of course. That's a fantasy, of course it is. But based on their try scoring last year, if you put into that Reece Martin's conversion rate from tries, they would have walked the league leaders' shield. So you Wigan fans out there who, let's be fair, are on the crest of a wave, and rightly so, brilliant side, look over your shoulder. This, for me, is the team that you should be most concerned about this season. Absolutely, they are the team. And, Dawn saying great. So I think Danny's saying something similar as well. Look, it's rugby league. Every team has got the spectre of injuries hanging over their head. And they have. But there's no doubt about it. If this team stays fully fit and Wigan's team stay fully fit, it's going to be a right good ding-dong. And I, for one, as a neutral where they're concerned, cannot wait to see how that one goes about. Wonderful stuff. I think that's been a really good conversation. Well done. Outstanding. So we all changed our minds in terms of, well, not changed our minds, but give different views on that. But
that's the beauty of it. We all gave different answers, and each one could be, is relevant.
Absolutely. And look, Eorl said it last night about how impressed he is about KR, both on and off the field. The fact that they've already sold out. I think they're the first to declare, aren't they, Steph?
Yeah.
I've not heard anybody else declare a sellout round one yet.
No.
I think there's a couple of teams that are close, but, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
And it's going to be that for pretty much the whole season as well. I think you can't give that club enough credit for what they've done in terms of growing that fan base. And obviously, like Adrian Lamb says, winning takes care of everything. Would they have that numbers if they were, in Hull FC's position? Probably not. But you've got to give credit where credit's due to that club and what they're doing and being innovative, not only on the field but off the field as well, with things like Craven Street and that kind of thing. They're setting the benchmark on how to be a rugby league team at the moment.
Well, in a minute, as you can see there, we're moving it on, and you'll see as well, we're changing the decals at the top, all of our sponsors, the Good Estate Agent. Have you decided how much discount you're giving to Super League Raw members this year? Yeah, Steph?
33%.
33%. So if you're moving house and you go through the Good Estate Agent, you'll save 33% on your fees outstanding. And as you can see there at the top, S&J Detailing. If you need your patio cleaning, your block paving, all of that, this is outstanding. If you just watch Super League Raw, these guys are going to take 20% off your bill.
Where are they based, Dave?
They will go pretty much all around the northwest. They're based in Huddersfield, but they'll go around. They will go around. Is what they've said. And like I say, if you're a Super League Raw member, 30% off. What's the point in breaking your back? Get these boys in. Outstanding stuff. Well done. So thank you very much to S&J. They are new for this year. Carl Gibson saying good evening on Patreon. He's loving what we've got to say about KR this evening. Outstanding. Come on, folks. We've not had a new member for a while, but somebody's just done the QR code. If somebody's just come and done the QR code, could we get another member tonight? We are going places this year.
We need a jingle. We need a jingle. When someone gets signs up, we need to do a...
Yeah, we do. That's an idea.
Well, Tinkerbell sounds like fairy dust.
Yeah, that's what.
Happy days. But look, we're the place to be. Honestly, what we achieved last year, the way we brought the community together, it's only going to get better. You want to be a part of this. If you love your rugby league and you want to enhance your rugby league experience in 2025, we're the place to be. Right, we're going to do a quick friendly roundup in a minute. But before we do, a couple of the members know that I do a bit of commentary for the Warrington Wolves, and we always talk about commentary. So what I thought I'd do is I actually commentated on the Widnes Warrington game. So I just thought I'd treat you. This was a little bit of my commentary from the Widnes Warrington game, and then we'll have a wrap up of all the other friendlies. Here we go.
Get ready for Deck Patton. Here he comes. We know what he can do. Oh, it's going through hands. Lovely. That's in easy, but on the edge. Fantastic try for the Widnes Vikings. You can't argue with that. He's back over on the right-hand side. That's the natural ball. There it goes. What's he got this time? It will be another high ball. Off they go again. It's Alfie Johnson. Oh, it's a great pass. Oh, good lad. A brilliant try from Alfie Johnston on his first appearance for the Warrington Wolves. Norman. Oh, that's good. Leyland. That's a brilliant pass. And Warrington are in again. A fantastic execution of try there from the Warrington Wolves. That is what it's all about. That pattern. There's a lovely cutout. That's a lovely pass. It's a lovely pass. It really is. We get a little bit of a dash to the right-hand side. No, it will come Leyland's way. Here we go. Little ball. That's fantastic. Kai Taylor-Ray out to Fulis. It's as easy as that. It's as easy as that, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful stuff from the Warrington Wolves. That's what we're talking about. Now Leyland. Over it comes. Kai Taylor-Ray. Cut out ball all the way as Alfie Johnson says, thank you very much. I'll have a brace. It takes two, baby. And there it is. Connected first, but oh, look at that. That's good hands. That's superb. That's superb from Widnes. Just exactly what they would have wanted. Some wonderful, wonderful hands. When it comes to the left-hand side, they are going left and right well. Another little short ball. Oh, he needed to make that there, did Aaron. Now they've got the numbers. I mean, he might have passed that too early. No, has he? You know he's not. It's a good try. Looks to me as if they made the decision to bring Cameron Brown off. Oh, that's a great dummy. And Gilmore's away. I don't think he's got support, or has he? There's the pass. That's good. Oh, it's a great, great try this for Widnes. Over they go. That's outstanding. When it comes to Gilmore, little cheeky one right under the post. And oh, it's a bit of a juggle. Is he going to give this? I think he's going to. No, he's not. I think he's saying forward. No, he's giving it.
So there you go, a little bit of Dave commentary. You know, I just wanted to treat the people that always ask about me doing a bit of comms. There you go. That's what it's all about.
Well done, sir. Well done.
A bit of passion, mate. A bit of passion on both sides of the coin. Enjoyed the Widnes tries, I have to say. So we'll start there because, you know, like I say, all the friendly results are going down there on the bottom of the screen. We'll start with Warrington because obviously Greg and I were at the Warrington Widnes game. And what I would say right off the bat is, and I think we'll say this after reviewing most of these games tonight, is Widnes looked a lot better than they did in the corresponding fixture last year. They had a really, really good dig at Warrington, scored some really nice tries. And I'll tell you what, their middle unit, Greg, Dan Murray, Martin Riley, Rodri Lloyd, and not down the middle. And the other lad, Lewis Hall, who looked like, you know, the bald-headed guy, looked like Phil Mitchell. He was incredible. I mean, for such a big unit, that guy was, he was getting back to the 10. He was putting big hits on. So the middle unit of Widnes looked really well. The right edge of Patton, Fleming and Butt. Oh, go on, boys.
Yeah, I tell you, they've got a decent shout this season. They're the number 11. What was his name, number 11?
Rodri Lloyd.
Rodri Lloyd. Had a great game. Great game.
He is a unit.
Yeah.
What he can shift, and he's a big lad.
Yeah.
His name escaped me. But yeah, I was impressed with Widnes. Obviously, I'm going to say that come the last 20 minutes, there was a lot of academy players out out on the pitch for Warrington. But you know, they put some good tries together. Widnes. Dick Patton had a decent game, to be honest. I think he always was going to. But yeah, I was impressed with Widnes, and that hurts me to say that. I'd love to see Widnes back in Super League. I really would.
Yeah, absolutely.
I miss the Easter clashes.
I mean, AD West in the comment there, some sweet passes from Widnes. You know what? It reminded me of Blackwood and licorice. It was that nice, really tantalising on the taste bud. That little bit of a finish, you know, when the licorice hits the back of your tonsils. Beautiful stuff from Widnes. You know, you've got to give them their due. And, you know, for me, you're just getting a sense this year, and I know, Steph, you're a massive, massive champion of the championship. I get the feeling that is going to be one hell of a competition this year. Widnes look to have improved. There's no question about that. You know, you've got the likes of York and Sheffield are looking something like, we know Ferriston will go round again. Bradford looking a little bit better. Halifax. It's just looking like that second tier could be really exciting.
Absolutely, and I think you missed Toulouse and Oldham at that
I
one.
did.
Yeah. So, I think Widnes probably surprised me a little bit watching that game, how good they actually were. And I think they're going to be a bit of a surprise package under Alan Coleman there at Widnes this season. The championship this year is going to be fantastic. It's going to be fascinating to see how that one pans out. And also a few clubs that are quite close on the IMG points as well. So obviously winning, I think they get 0.25 5 for winning the comp, and they also get similar for the 1895 as well.
Yeah.
So there's some serious IMG points up for grabs for those, and also some very worried Super League clubs as well. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic competition this year. Some really good. Really good sides, and they've all recruited well. None more so than Oldham. I watched the friendly v Wigan actually the other day, Oldham v Wigan, and that was a really good game as well. Obviously, likes of Josh Drinkwater, as you guys know very well, signed for Oldham, which is a fantastic signing for any championship club, in my opinion. So yeah, it's going to be a really good competitive year, and like I said, there'll be a few Super League clubs who are going to be looking at that one very, very closely.
Kean Shaw is a member at Super League Raw. Welcome, Kean, to the family for 2025. They just keep coming thick and fast.
This must be a record-breaking night. This tonight.
It's on its way. It's on its way. We could do with some more, but look, there's loads of great stuff coming down the pipe. Greg Roach said, remind me again what Under the Floodlights is. So when you become a member this season, you will record with me Under the Floodlights, where you will tell your rugby league story, what got you into it, reminisce on those wonderful times as a child, maybe going with your parents or your grandparents, really, telling us from your perspective why you love this game so much. We'll learn more about you. And the reason we do that, we are a community. We do go out together. We do meet up before games. We do go to Challenge Cup finals together, etc. So to actually know each other a little bit better, it just makes it a lot easier when we all come together. So welcome to Kean. Welcome to everybody who's been here, that's joined us this evening. And let's hope that we get another one between now and the end of the show. And for those watching on YouTube, there are, what's it called, Steph, that you can guarantee?
Super chat. If you want to do a super chat, that guarantees your comment to be read out. So
yes,
if you want to do one of those, you just go on to you have to. I think you have to have a subscription to YouTube. You have to be have an account. But yeah, if you do a super chat, we will read your comment out and comment on it.
Last comment on the Widnes Warrington game, Greg. Deck pattern. I feel for Deck. I think his chance was always that final against, if it was Leeds, where he was man of the match before Sandow came on. And then his career's tapered off since then. But he showed against Warrington that if Widnes can keep him on the park, I thought him and Gilmore, the 7 and 6, look really, really good. 2 falls on both sides. Keeping Deck fit, they've got a really strong middle unit. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, normally I laugh at Widnes and I keep an eye on them just to have a little chuckle, as you'd expect. But I think this year, actually, based on the performance against Warrington, I'm really intrigued to see how they go.
Like I say, Widnes are one of those clubs that are synonymous with rugby league and really should be in the top flight.
Yeah.
Along with Bradford as well, could claim that they are of that same kind of calibre of team. And a lot of other teams, to be honest. But as much as we're rivals, as much as they are our deadliest enemy, I'd love to see them back in Super League. I really would.
It's another derby, isn't it?
I think it need to be.
Yeah, it's another derby.
Stadium there. They've got heritage. They've won leagues in the time between
World Club Challenges. World Club Challenges. They've run World Club Challenges.
Mate, let's be fair. They're a giant in the game. Widnes, they're just not. As are the next team I want to talk about, because Bradford beating Huddersfield at Huddersfield 28 points to 14. Joel and Greg were there. Great photo, guys. That'll be on the opening titles next week. Lovely photo of Joel and Greg together at that game. Now, many people will look at that result, like the Warrington result. I mean, look, I'm taking nothing away from Widnes, nothing at all. But second half, I think the average age of the Warrington team was about 22, and up until I think 50 minutes, it was a real competitive game. And I'm taking nothing against Widnes. Widnes were in the arm wrestle before the changes took place. When I saw this result, the Bulls 28, Huddersfield 14, I thought, it's interesting. I wonder what Huddersfield's team was. They had McGowan at fullback, Swift and Halsall on the wings, Sutcliffe and Bibby in the centres, George Flanagan and Leo Wood in the halves. Tom Burgess made his first appearance. Ash Goulding playing at hooker. Ollie Wilson was playing. Second row, Jack Billington, Sam Hewitt and Harry Rushton at loose. Not a million miles off.
Decent team.
Decent side. So, don't get me wrong. Let's be honest on this. It's a pre-season friendly. We don't read too much into it. But I think what you have to read into it is based on the calibre of the players on the field that Huddersfield had. Bradford like Widnes, can take so much out of that game. They look like a team. Again, another sleeping giant, let's be fair. Not, Brian Noble is the coach this year. Greg, guys, I don't know if you were aware of the starting lineup for Huddersfield, but if you're a Bradford Bulls fan, having seen your team go there and beat that level of opposition, you're going to be excited about this campaign.
Yeah, you're going to be delighted. And I've seen a few of the comments Greg's made on here tonight and on some of the chats that they look well drilled. They had some good shapes. They had some good attacking moves. They looked they look like a Brian Noble side, to be honest. Yeah. So a coach with the caliber of Brian Noble is going to get the best out of players. You would have thought. So, yeah, exciting times, like you say. Let's get them in Super League.
Well, I mean, again, let's just take a look because they've recruited well at Bradford. Obviously, Ockenbaugh went over from Hull last year, didn't he? Wonga Blake has gone there.
Yeah.
James Meadows has gone from London. Michael Lawrence is still there. Incredible.
LA from LA.
And he actually, when he made the move last year, he shone in the championship. He really did. Emmanuel Wayne from London. So they've brought in some really good personnel. And again, we'll be keeping a close eye on Championship Rugby League this year. Great win for Sheffield Eagles. Great win for Midland Hurricanes, of course, Earl's new side. They got a win as well at the weekend. The one going across the screen now, Barrow 58, Salford Red Devils 12. That was a bunch of kids. So
can't read anything into that one.
Yeah, don't think that Salford players have put the queue in the rack. They weren't there. But again, good run out for the younger lads because, of course, they'll be playing in reserve grade this year. So probably a good hit out for them. Yeah, we'd say, wouldn't we?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think you've got to take these friendlies with a pinch of salt. What I'd say on the Huddersfield one is obviously they didn't have Lola here or Clune in there. So obviously you take your main playmakers. They're not going to be the attacking side. But what I would counter that with is that they did have a lot of players on there who are experienced Super League players who can tackle, and the tackling at times for Huddersfield was shocking. The Bradford did really well, and that's not taking anything away from them. But you'd expect better defending from a team like Huddersfield. But yeah, I actually watched the Barrow Salford game. It was a really entertaining. We didn't mention Barrow in terms of those, but they've got a very competitive side as well. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's quite good with the Championship that most of their fixtures fall on Sundays. So with Super League being either Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or a Sunday, if you can get to a Championship ground and can go and see some of these players, it's a fantastic competition.
A lot of love for Bradford in the chat, mate.
Yeah, really, really entertaining, and it's like it's proper rugby league in the Championship, as I would call it.
Yeah. No, look, it's going to be a great comp. It's going to be a great comp. And, some of those scores that are going through the Batley one, like I say, it was Batley with the Midland Hurricanes beat. That's a great scalp for them. And it was a really, really good, tight game. Went down to the wire. That was an interception try, I'm led to believe, on 77 minutes to clinch the game for the Midland Hurricanes. So, and we will be going down to the Midland Hurricanes. We spoke to Eorl last night. We're going to be doing some specials on the Midland Hurricanes this year. So we are going to be doing a bit more in the Championship in 2025. Of course, predominantly it's Super League, but we are going to be dipping into that. There is now, forgive me, I'm just going to mention this. There's no Nixon report tonight. And the reason for that is, guys, I just want to thank Greg. And I want all of us to send our love and best wishes to his dad who's in hospital. John, great fella, absolute stand-up bloke. And Greg has come here tonight on Super League Raw for your entertainment. I can't thank him enough. It just goes to show how much this show means to Greg. But on behalf of everybody who's watching, and of course myself and Steph, we send our love and best wishes to John this evening. Speedy recovery.
Cheers, guys.
We're all thinking about you, my mate. We're all thinking.
Cheers. Thanks for that.
Absolute pleasure, my mate. Absolute pleasure. The man is
I'm sure that'll give him a boost.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Absolute gentleman and scholar. Right. So that's the roundup. Like I say, I think in terms of the roundup, what we can take from that is that the Super League team, they won't be too concerned. It's early days, but like I say, it's exciting around the Championship. I think the Championship and League One this year could be very, very interesting indeed. And I'm sure, and already Greg Roach is in the chat sending his love and support. Reg, you'd expect nothing less. The man that is Mr. Roach.
There was also, before we just quickly move off that, Whitehaven Workington was a delayed kickoff because of crowd congestion.
I know.
Fabulous. But for again, looking at we talked about Salford, Whitehaven are a club that were really in dire straits.
Yeah.
So to see the crowd, I mean, obviously it's a very big derby, that one between those two. But great to see a good attendance there for that one, and good to see Whitehaven still going.
There we go. My apologies. I'm just getting rid of somebody who's decided to try and do a bit of like clickbait stroke. So there you go. He's gone. He's out. Bye.
Someone won 500 quid doing a pass the ball, which was really good at Whitehaven.
Fantastic. Well, actually, again, let's be fair, great local rivalry there. That was neck and neck, 12 apiece, 66 minutes in. That was a cracking game. So, for those guys down there, they didn't release the attendance, which is a bit upsetting. And it'll be lovely to see what that was. Carl, the new member, don't even, he's only been here 5 minutes and he's wishing you'd have well, Greg.
I appreciate all the best wishes, guys. It means a lot. Thank you.
Happy days indeed. Right, so that's pretty much sorts out the friendlies. We'll keep a close eye on all of that as we now move to the Challenge Cup. Of course, the results going across the bottom. You can see there, in terms of what that should be Crossfields, not Crossport, where that's come from. But you can see all the results from round number 1 going across the bottom of your screen. I'm not going to read them out. Go and have a look online if you want to see what the scores was. But now we know who round 2 are. Let's pick out some of these ones that are in here. Rochdale taking on Widnes. That's going to be a belting game. Widnes will be fancying that. After the game, Alan Coleman was saying that he really wants a good cup run, wants to get to the point where he's up against Super League opposition. He's got to get through Rochdale to do that. Oldham, Rochdale, Mayfield. That's an interesting local one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, local derby.
It is.
Yeah.
Don't know if you got me there.
You broke up a little bit, mate.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. I'm saying Oldham, Rochdale. That's a good local one. In and around there. The one that there's a couple that Cornwall, North Wales is interesting from the point of view of probably even sides. Midland Hurricanes Hurls teams going up against Sidell, they're in there as well. But the big one that for me stands out there is Bradford against Doncaster. That's the one on the first page that you look at. I mean, Doncaster losing to Sheffield last week, Bradford, of course, winning. But that's a really interesting game.
Doncaster are another team that they got a great stadium. A bit of kind of, if they get their act together, they could push. They could push, to the top end. So, yeah, I lost track of completely what I was saying there. I was reading comments.
Don't do that. Concentrate on what you're saying. In terms,
watering clash.
It is. Westhull, Dawn Kirby giving her best to Westhull, and Batley Bulldogs will want to bounce back against Newcastle Thunder after that one. Now, here's an interesting one for you because on the telly is going to be the game between the London Broncos and the Goole Vikings, which that's going to be on the BBC. When you consider that Goole went down 46-6 to Featherstone, I think again. I see what they're doing. Gill's the new kid on the block. They want to give him a bit of airtime. I get all that, and I do. But for me, if we're going to sell the Challenge Cup, you've got to be putting, for example, narrative. Dewsbury Moor, Dewsbury Rams. What a narrative. Get all over that is what I'd say. We've already talked there a minute ago about the Doncaster game. That'd have been a good game to put on. Don't quite understand why the game's on, do you?
Halifax Panthers versus Tattooee. Looking at it, Tattooee played brilliantly at the weekend. It was a really good slug between them and who were they playing? Eorl.
Was it Eorl?
Eorl St that'll be a really interesting one. London Goole. Again, it was a friendly, wasn't it, between them and Featherstone? Goole and Featherstone. They look like they were assembling quite a decent side there under Scott Taylor's the coach there, isn't he?
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes, that one. But obviously that'll be at the Cherry Red Record Stadium, won't it? I'd imagine. No, I can see.
Yeah.
I think obviously with
Yeah.
the London thing, I think that's probably why they've picked that one. It will be interesting to see how they go. But again, Whitehaven Swinton, I think will be an absolute ding dong one as well.
Oh yeah,
Greg's got his eye on that. Greg's got his eye on that.
that for me is
How
a
many
tie
son?
round for personal reasons.
Yeah,
Anybody who
Yeah.
doesn't
So for
know,
those who don't know,
my eldest boyfriend
Go on, mate.
plays for Swinton, and they play. If they win that, they play against Warrington, and he's a Warrington lad. So there may be split loyalties in our house if Swinton get through that weekend. But yeah, I mean that
Happy
for me,
days.
Whitehaven Swinton, it is if it's not it's one of the ties of the round, definitely.
yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not, I'm not being. I don't want to sound as if I'm playing the Ghoul one down. I just think there's some really good ties in there that probably deserved to be on the box, but they're not. So we'll be keeping an eye on the Challenge Cup as we go through. Those games I think are coming up in February, back end of January, early February. So keep your eyes out for them. And as the lads have already said, I think those games, I think they're definitely played before the commencement of the new Super League season. So maybe an opportunity there to go and watch some rugby league in the. Rugby league in the before Super League starts in and around your local area. I'm sure they would love your support. Right, okay, we move on. Okay, moving on at a pace. We're now going to go to St Helens, and as you can see there, we have a new sponsor at the top, Hush Brewing Company. Another reason to be a part of Super League Raw this year. They're in the process of putting together a case of beer at a discounted rate for Super League fans, Super League Raw fans. That is coming as well this season. That's going to be announced in the next couple of weeks. But Hush Brewing Company, they are an official sponsor for this year. Right, let's get into St Helens then. So the departures. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They had a very average season by their incredible standards last season. Tommy Makinson, gone. Catalan. Lewis Dodd left. Sona Matauti retired. We've already spoke about Wonga Blake going to Bradford. And then, of course, a couple of the fringe players, Sam Royal, Ben Lane, and Mackenzie Buckley have moved. They've replaced Tommy Makinson. It's pretty much a like for like. Carl Shaw. There you go. Carl Shaw. Yes. Kean's his lad. Oh, hey, up. So we had two brothers. We've got Bill and we've got Phil Webster. And now we've got Ronan Keating and Cat Stevens. We've got Carl Shaw and his lad as part of Super League Raw. Well done, Carl. That's what it's all about. You're a top man. Very well done indeed. Tommy Makinson, mate, replaced by Carl Felt. Tristan Saylor, the replacement for Lewis Dodd. And then, of course, they brought in Lewis Murphy. So just 3 acquisitions. Before we get to Felt and Saylor, which I think are probably the 2 biggies of the 3, let's not forget what Lewis Murphy did at Wakefield back, I think it was 2022. He shot on the scene. He's got bags of pace. Not worked out for him in the NRL, but this could be one of those signings where at the end of the season you go, wow, what a season Lewis Murphy's had. I mean, potentially, it's a long shot, but potentially a dream teamer.
Well, I think John Bennison might be looking over his shoulder at this one. Didn't he get injured playing for Wakefield? He got quite a bad injury, didn't he?
Yeah, he was either MCL or ACL. He did his and he almost put his move to the NRL at risk.
He kind of exploded on the scene and got the injury, didn't he? No, I think you're right. I think this kid, if he gets a chance, could very well, as you say, could very well be a dream teamer by the end of the season. I mean, you say Saints had an average season. You've got to remember that they were second for a long time. They were in the top 2 for a long time last season, and we joke about Saints having injuries, and did they have injuries? But they did get a lot of injuries at a vital time of the season, and you saw towards the back end when some of those players came back, they got really strong again in the last few games of the season. But I wouldn't. That phrase that I hate, never write off the Saints, but I can see them having a much better season this time around, if they can keep all the players fit. And it's a big if in this game.
A big F. Yeah. Well, great signing, Lewis Murphy, says Don Kirby. And just to remind everybody, okay, I did say 2022. Let me put this into context. This was playing for Wakefield Trinity in 2022. He played 21 times and scored 19 tries for Wakefield. Now, again, I'm not being disrespectful to Wakefield, but you've got to remember what team Wakefield had at that point in time. To score 21 tries in 19 tries in 21 games. He's now going
Was that
to,
the season we lost
Saints.
Wakefield from Super League? Season after?
No, it was the year after. I think it was the year. Yeah, because if you remember, Murphy was picked to potentially going to be one of the top 10 try scorers in the league, and I think he was about 2 or 3 rounds in. He did his injury, and that was in for the season. Right, it was a travesty, but yeah, there you go. Right, let's get into the I mean, look, let's go, Steph. You're in now, so I'll just ask you a blanket question like I did Greg when we did KR. Is this a stronger Saints or a weaker Saints year on year?
I think it's probably a little bit stronger. Mainly, I'm saying that with the addition of Tristan Saylor. I think Felt's a really good addition. Quality NRL player. He'll go really well. He'll get plenty of ball there on the wing and score plenty of tries this season. But I think Tristan potentially gives them that little bit of X factor. I think if he fires, that's going to be a big part of Saints being successful this year. It's a big if, because he wasn't a regular NRL player. Obviously, someone that was on Leeds radar. So I did quite a bit of research on Tristan. He has got the potential to knock on, as Dawn Kirkby was rightly telling me, because Dawn's done quite a bit of research on him as well. But he has got that little bit of X factor as well. So I think he'll fit really well into the way Saints play. And it'll be very interesting to see whether they keep him at 6 or whether they put him at fullback, which is probably more his natural position, and move Wellesby into the 6 position. I know the squad numbers say otherwise, but I think if I was going to put a bet on, I wouldn't be surprised to see him move to fullback and Wellesby at 6. But I think a lot for Saints this year. It's their forward pack for me, and it's keeping all those guys fit, because once Wellesby came back, Walmsley, Parsi, Darryl Clark obviously had an injury and came. Once those players came back, we saw the Saints of old, and we're only a drop goal away from beating Warrington in that pre-semi-final. So anybody who says that they've not got the potential to do it this season, I think's wrong. They're a very, very good side, but key personnel and this man on the screen firing are going to be massive for Saints this year.
Well, the interesting thing for me where Saylor's concerned, he's not pulled up many trees in the NRL. Let's be fair on that. He's had 21 appearances. I think the fact that Breers will know him well, Breers will know him well from his time at Brisbane. So there's no doubt that I think Lee Breers might have had maybe a word in the ear at Saints hierarchy. He must have faith in Tristan Saylor. His time at St George cut short, and Wendell Saylor, his dad, what a player he was. He was a bit disappointed with the way in which his son was treated. But you can see there, you see Alan Walsh there saying halfbacks for him is still a concern. Lee Breers, a massive impact. Michael Ball said. Dawn said she thinks he'll be better at halfback than at fullback, and AD West isn't sure about the pack. This is a player who's never played in the halves. No. And that, for me, if he had... And look, we were speaking last night on live about, when Michael Monaghan came over to Warrington, he wanted to play 7. He wanted to play at 7. And then when and it wasn't working, Tony Smith come in, switched him to hooker, the rest is history. I just don't see this lad in the halves. I really don't. I think your point about Wellesby perhaps moving up potentially, I don't know. But that's going to be interesting to see. It really, really is. I mean, like I say, there's not an awful lot to go on. Talented, he's got talent, but he's not really shone. I think
the confidence for me comes from, I think, if you look at people who fall into the similar mould in terms of an unknown NRL player, I would counter that with Kai O'Donnell, Tom Amone, and this lad was on Lee's radar. There's not many ones that Chris Chester and Adrian Lamb have missed on this season. So as a Saints fan, I would take a lot of encouragement from that. Like I said, it could go one way or the other with him. I honestly believe he's going to do really well for Saints, and I think he's got a bit of that Ben Barber in him. I think it's a big comparison. It's a bit like Derek comparing Armstrong to French, that really, isn't it? But he has got that kind of ability. So let's see.
I think Carl's just on the internet tonight.
I knew member Carl, take a bow. That's a belter. Vanessa's nephew will go well. Let's talk Kyle. Let's now start to talk Kyle Felt. What an absolute gem that is. Well done, Kyle. Love it, mate. Direct replacement, this guy's for Tommy Make. No doubt about that whatsoever. He's going to be 33 at season start. He's no spring chick. You know, he's in the twilight of his career. You know, he's got a few years left in him. Big unit, though. 6'3", 16 stone on the wing. Big unit. Unlike Sailor, this guy's been there, done it, got the T-shirt. 217 appearances in the NRL. 151 tries. Not bad with a boot. 62.86% conversion ratio. He's appeared twice in State of Origin. He never won a game, but he appeared. And let's be fair, just putting on a jersey in Origin is a feat in itself. You know, this guy's got pedigree. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. Personally, I was amazed when Makinson left. Amazed. Obviously, that had to be a cap decision.
This guy would have come in on the same money as Makinson.
You'd think so. That's where I was going. I just think, you know, personally, Makinson, if he is on the similar money to Makinson, don't understand why. Unless Makinson wanted the challenge of going like Sam Tompkins has done, just going.
I think Tommy Makinson picked up a few injuries as well over the last couple of seasons as well.
Yeah, but look at his try. 3 of every 4 he's scoring a try. This guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's in the NRL. So I would expect him to be on, you know, a try a game pretty much ratio at Saints.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a member for a while. Come on, let's have another member. Go on a roll. Let's have another member. You don't believe what we got in store for you this season. You really don't. Honestly, it's going to be outstanding.
Carl's the new
going to be our best year.
Yeah. Carl, I do the jokes, mate. Okay.
Oh dear. Right. Okay. Let's go through the questions. First off, Greg, who in the Saints team has got the biggest points?
A difficult one. But I'm going to go for somebody who's just got a new deal, George Delaney. I think.
Yeah. Nice.
I think to be fair to him, probably the injuries didn't help with his development because I think he maybe was pushed through when he might not have been last season. I think he flattered to deceive a lot last season, but I'm not going to turn to his face because he's a big lad. But I think this is George Delaney's season where he, especially with, you know, people like like Alex Walmsley probably coming to the end of his career. I think this is his time to step up and show that he can. He's the future of St Helens pack.
Well, Adam Wall saying, don't forget him bike and playing the hours as well. He might feature. Same question for you, Steph. Point to prove, St Helens. Who would you go?
It might surprise some people. I'm going to go Conrad Eorl as a point to prove. I think he got a lot of flack last year for his defence, and rightly so. You know, I watched him on a number of occasions get ripped apart by Leeds attack last season. He was obviously targeted. His attack is brilliant. No one can deny that. But I think as an opposition coach, you're going to attack his side all day long with his defensive efforts. So I think he's got as an experienced core player for that Saints side. I think he needs to shore up that defence this year for Saints and have a really big season for them.
By all accounts, his favourite track's the Birds Turn. He's Conrad. It's
more money than Saints Turnstiles. So
absolutely. Only joking, Conrad. We love you really. He's not watching. That could be in big trouble. Point to prove. Do you know what? There's so many points to prove for me in Saints. You know, to pick one. In the chat, Craig saying Jack Wellesby. I get that because by Jack's high standards.
Another injured though, wasn't he? 2 injuries.
Yeah, but by his standards, even when he was on, he was that. I think, you know, for me, if I was going to pick, I'm torn here between 2. James Bell, because in 2023 he was unplayable. He was in our dream team. He was that good. Not as effective last year, and possibly Matt Whitley as well. Matt Whitley in 2023 at Catalan was exceptional. Started off well last year, but faded. So for me, I can't really split those 2 for me, but that's where I'd go. Who are you excited to see, Greg, in this team this year?
Tristan Saylor, I think. I think it was Steph said if he adapts to the game, I think he's got the potential to be an explosive player. Whether he plays at fullback or in the halves.
Yeah.
I think there's a few Saints fans are saying he's the new Bevan French. Well, who knows? But yeah, I'm excited to see Tristan Saylor.
Super. Steph, same question. Are you excited?
I would have said Tristan too, but just a bit extra. I'm going to go with Moses Mbai. I think Moses is a really good player, and I think he's got another year under him this year. So he needs to be a leader for Saints. I think a lot of the good things that Saints do come through him. He's got the ability to kick a drop goal, so that comes in handy with some close games. So I think he's going to be a bit of a leader for Saints this year. So Moses Mbai, I think.
The one I'm really looking forward to seeing is Noah Stevens. I thought Noah Stevens last year, for a young lad, was incredible. I mean, that kid for me, Delaney. People talk about Delaney. What I saw from Stevens, that kid could just be the next Alex Walmsley. He's brutally good going forward. He can only get better. He's only a kid. Really, you know me. I love the middle units. I'm a bit biased. I love the hard work down the middle. I always have done. So I wish nothing but the best of luck to Noah Stevens. I'm really looking forward to seeing him this year. Rising star, Greg.
Me, sorry, you broke that. Rising star.
Yeah, mate. Rising.
That's a difficult one. I think Lewis Murphy probably, although can we call him a rising star? You could even say he's got a point to prove, really. I think probably going back to what you said, Noah Stevens. Not to jump on your bandwagon, but I think you were right with what you said about him last season.
There's plenty of room, sir. Plenty of room.
He's already up for an Oscar, apparently, at this year's awards. But no, joking aside, I think Noah Stevens could have a big season this year.
Fantastic. Same for
dead easy one, Harry Robertson.
Yeah.
I think when we've just talked about the fullback and Wellesby or Saylor, don't count this lad out because he burst onto the scene last year with some fantastic breaks and some great tries. And I think given his opportunity, I think he's got the potential to be a very, very good player.
Well, Alex Sharp's looking forward to Matty Lee's backing up his dream team pick of 2024. I'll tell you what, the biggest travesty in Super League last year. Urban SASA. We'll get to Hull FC in the next couple of weeks, but what a player. Let's hope that he can go around again as good because I really enjoyed watching him last year. He was a sensation. And Dayan, forgive me, I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I've seen him play many times. Dayan Samba, the number 29 there, the centre, played in the reserve. Sambo, is it? Is it Sambo? Again, we'll have to look into. All I know is he's a hell of a talent. He's a young kid, plays in the centre. He's somebody that you've not really seen an awful lot of yet at Saints. Take my word for it. That number 29 could just break into that. Could just get his, in a couple of games this year, and he'd be very deserving because he's been very good in the reserves. Finally, the key player, Greg. Who's the key player?
I think Wellesby. I think he has to stay fit. If he's got any hopes of regaining or the past form, I think Jack Wellesby, he's got to stand up this season. I think some people said he had a disappointing season, but he was injured. I think the injuries to other players also affected his game. I think Jack Wellesby for me.
Fair play.
Johnny Lomax. Everything good that Saints do comes through Johnny Lomax. So I think, again, by his own standards last year, I think he was a bit in and out. But most of the good things Saints did last year were a result of what Johnny Lomax was doing on the field. So
I think he had an injury last year as well, didn't he, Johnny Lomax?
He did, and he had a suspension as well for a bad tackle. So yeah, I think if he's on the field consistently for Saints and he's doing, you've got to remember these guys are the organisers. These are the ones that make everything happen for the other players and the outside backs. So for me, Johnny Lomax is key to everything good that Saints will do this year.
And again, isn't it wonderful because we're all going three different players. For me, He's getting. Well, he's getting on. I think he's only about 31. I think. I don't think he's getting on too much. Mark Percival is the player for me. He's so important, both with a kicking tee, but I think we'd all agree that pound for pound, consistently, Jake Wardle is the best centre in the league. Mark Percival on his day rivals Jake Wardle.
Too injury prone for me, Dave, to be honest.
Injury. Well, he is, and that's the point. But if he can, this is what I'm saying
as well. Kept him for Percival. He's had a few, hasn't he? You know.
But the thing is, this is what I mean about being a key player. If he can stay injury free, that's massive for St Helens. It really is. You know, Percival for me, again, a player that I admire a lot. He's had a great career. You know, and because of like the Wellsbys of this world, the Wormsleys, and I know the Saints fans love him, but it's easy to overlook Mark Percival. Easy to overlook him. He's got a great hit on him. Sometimes he mistimes it, but he's got good D on him. He can kick a ball. He's a good all-rounder. Right, before we leave St Helens, you know me, I like a bit. Is this going to play a part? And I think this is an interesting point. I wanted to put this together for tonight's show for you to have a quick look at. Average age, the 1 to 17, the 1 to 17s in these squads. I've guessed. I've picked my 1 to 17. You just have to trust me. I know what I'm talking about. I've gone the 1 to 17s for these 5 squads. Just take it as read. It is going to probably be near as damn it. I might have got one slightly wrong, but near as damn it, it's going to be right. It's going to be right. Saints' average age going into the season there, 1 to 17, is 29.6 years old. KR's is 28.7. Wigan right in the prime, 26.7. Just put that back up again. My apologies. Ooh, we'll go back to it. There you go. Here he comes. Coming back. Okay. Leeds is at 26.8. So they're just slightly ahead. But again, in that sweet spot, 26. And Wire at 26.3. So, you know, KR a little bit older. But Saints 29.6. But the interesting thing for me here, lads, is that, you know, when you consider the players that I don't know why that's come back up anyway. We're doing a lot better tonight.
I've not been talking to myself once.
It was a bit ropey last week, but we're back on track. But I think the thing for me is Wormsley has missed pretty much the last 2 run-ins for injury in the last 2 seasons. Lomax is 34. You know, a lot of that, Sirinen over 30. You know, there's a lot of their key personnel that is over 30. Now, look, many of them are still in, plenty of rugby still in them, early 30s. But some of the key ones, Wormsley, Lomax, they're coming into that part of their career now where, we're talking about injuries. The law of averages states these lads are going to pick up injuries. They're at that point in the career. And that, for me, is a real concern. Helens to see.
Yeah.
Real concern.
100%. And it's I mean, there's no, hopefully it's not. For Saints, I hope that they have an injury-free season, because it's not good for any fan of rugby league to see the best players not playing rugby.
No.
It is a big risk for them. Any team that lets the team get to as old as what they get into and not replacing players, I suspect it's to do with contracts and cap lengths and stuff like that with Saints at the moment. But I think when you start creeping up to those kind of numbers of your average age, it's getting to the point where you need to start branch, overhaul, and bring in some of the other players in. But I still think they've got a good season in them, Saints.
Yeah.
If they can stay.
They'll be around. I mean, I think we're going into the season, aren't we? Wigan, Warrington, and KR. It would amaze everybody if they were. I mean, I'm just going to say top 6. Yeah. I mean, we're expecting them to challenge for the top, but they're top 6. And then in terms of St Helens, with them, you'd expect them to be in and around it, but injuries could play a massive part. We're going to get to Leeds next. I'm very conscious of the time, but before we do, on our social media, we're on TikTok now as well, guys. So if you're on TikTok, look up Super League. We're on TikTok this year. Yeah, we're down with the kids this year. We're going to be doing a bit on TikTok. So we're on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and X. Go and find us. Make sure you subscribe to us. Give us a bit of a steer. And we put out on our Facebook feed and on our X feed and on our TikTok feed this little beauty. Oh, yes. The social media caption challenge. This made an appearance last week. It's back this week. And again, massive thanks to everybody who got involved in this one. So we're going to give a couple of mentions on this. For those who are listening to this on the podcast, if you go... I don't know what's happening there. Oh, what's happening?
Hello again.
I don't know what's happened there. What happened then?
You froze. Steph disappeared. You froze, and I was on my own again.
Oh dear. Well, we're back anyway. There's the caption. We're back. So if you're on the podcast, if you're listening to this, go onto our social medias and you'll see a nice little photo of two Hull KR players doing a little bit of wrestling. That was the caption, and we asked people to give us a steer. So the first one, let's give a shout out to Thomas Messer. What does since 1985 mean? That's a line. That's a line. Good line, that one. So well done to Thomas. Next one, I do like this one. This one's a good one. This is Bazza Kingston. And Bazzers, feel the music, Jez, and just go with it. What a ledge. That's an absolute beauty. Ryan Birch taking it a step too far. He says, sorry about the hickey I just give you, mate, which is probably a step too far. That, right?
That'd be the Mickey.
I don't know. But anyway, we do have a top three. We had a top three like we did last week. So here we go. The first one, member, Fraser Howard. This is a beauty. Have I told you how stunning your lobes are? I mean, that's a beauty, isn't it? That's absolutely. Look at the stare. It's just beautiful. Loving that, Fraser. Good work. Well done. Then in second place, another member, Mark Hill. Bit of dirty dancing. One look at you and I can't disguise I've got hungry eyes. I like that, Mark. I like that a little bit. But without doubt, it was one of the first ones. And like last week, when this one come up, I was having a proper giggle at it. Take your hat off to Mr. Ian Medlock. This, without doubt, is comedy gold. Here it comes. Why can I see grass through your ear? That is an absolute belter. I mean, that is out of the very, very top drawer. So massive congratulations to you, Ian. That is an absolute peach. Those will continue to come thick and fast. Thanks, everybody, for getting involved in them on socials. Look out for this week's later in the week. Right, we're going to finish by looking at the Leeds Rhinos side. This is them. Here we go. This is going to get Alex Sharp perking up in the chat, I'm sure. Departures, massive departure in Reece Martin. James Donaldson didn't do an awful lot wrong for the Leeds Rhinos. Davy Foster too, perhaps one of the worst signings in Super League history. Not his fault. Got a lot of injuries, but wow. I mean, talk about a real shocker. You know, Davy Foster. So I don't think there'll be many Leeds fans that have shed a tear on that one. Lewis Roberts, Corey Johnson, and Kieran Hudson. In for them, Mika Sivo. Needs no introduction. We'll get to him in a minute. The returning Ryan Hall, probably the oldest wingers in the comp by far, these two. Keenan Palacia, he's coming at, actually not Tom Holroyd at the number 10 shirt. He's coming at 10. And then, of course, Cooper Jenkins has come in. A bit of a, and that's going to be interesting. Again, we like young players here at Super League Roy. He's only 23. He's a prop. It's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. And of course, Jake Connor from Huddersfield has come in as well. That's how they look. Steph, I'll start with you on this one. Stronger or weaker?
I think they're stronger. When you look at Ryan Hall coming back. And Sivo on the wings, yes, they're getting twilight of their career, both of them. But Lewis Roberts, young lad, played quite a bit for Leeds last year on the wings. So and Fositua as well. I think those two are guaranteed you probably at least 20 tries apiece for those two players. So I think that's definitely an upgrade for them. I really like looking at this Palacia. I think he could be a really good prop for them with Aletsky as well, which probably takes a little bit of heat off him as well because he needs to have another big season, I think, with his new contract. So, and then obviously the biggest talking point is obviously Jake Connor. But he made a great start in the Weatherby Whaler friendly against Wakefield, scoring those 2 tries. So really good start for Jake, and that'll give him a lot of confidence. And I think a confident Jake Connor who's happy in his rugby is going to be very dangerous. If that can stay the same, throughout the season, that's going to be a big impact on where Leeds finish this year.
Yeah. Greg, would you agree with that?
Yeah, totally.
Good man.
Yeah, I think they're stronger on the wings. And I think, Jake Connor's probably got a point to prove as well.
Yeah.
So, he could be quite a dangerous player this year. I know that our Huddersfield friends might not agree with me, but I think he's got a big point to prove this year, Jake Connor. I think that could spur him on.
So you've moved on to a point to prove. That's fine. No drama.
Well, I just thought I'd get it out of the way.
Yeah, fair play. Right.
I might take Pelters for it, but I think Jake Connor is the one who has the point to prove in that team this season.
I'm gonna take a look at the two new signings in a minute. I'm reserving judgment, and I'm going to tell you why. If you look at Leeds last season, the amount of tries they scored from deep, especially on the left edge with Hanley, by pushing Hanley into centre, which is what they look to have done. As good a player as Ryan Hall is, and as good a player as Maker Sevo has, they've both lost a lot of pace. That for me would be a concern. To take a player like Handley off the wing with the genuine threat that if he gets away, he's gone. He's like Ashton. Well, unless he's being defended by Ashton, and we all know what happens there. But he's like Ashton. Well, you give him a bit of field to run into, the guy's gone. The amount of tries he scored length of the field. You don't see Ryan Hall scoring many length of the fielders now. And Mika Sevo, to be fair, as good as he was a couple of seasons back, he has lost the yard of pace. That's a concern for me. I think they're taking a bit of potency out of their attack by moving Hanley into the middle. That's just my personal opinion. People can shoot me down if they want. That's my personal opinion. So I think a lot rides on that decision from Brad Arthur to make. I think you live and die by your decisions. That decision alone could be a masterstroke, or it could be the one that completely undoes him. I don't know. I really, really don't know. But that's just my take on it. Point to prove, Steph, who would you go?
Can I go a bit unconventional here? I'm going to go Brad Arthur.
Go for it, mate.
I think from what I'm hearing, this one's for you, Alex Shark. I've watched the documentary, and to be fair, the Leeds documentary is fantastic watch. For anybody who's a rugby league fan, just the production of it, and I've been crying out for a Netflix documentary. Yeah. I think that's not far off where it should be. Brilliant. But Leeds have put Brad on a pedestal, and I think it's a bit of a dangerous territory for me, that, because you've got to remember Brad was coaching them when they were winning games against London with drop goals, in the last minute or extra time. He's been built up as the saviour and the one that's going to get him, that's not going to finish 8th this season. Could he do it? Absolutely. But if you look at the reason Sevo's come in is obviously the Parramatta connection, stuff like that. So this is now Brad Arthur's team. This is the team that's going to be, pushing the Wigans, the Warringtons, the Hull KRs. So for me, I think from a coaching perspective, I think he's got the most pressure on him as a coach to do something this year. So I think he's got a lot to prove in the eyes of the Leeds Rhinos fans, because what will happen is if results start going the wrong way for them, I've been told that the fans will get on the back of the players. I don't believe that for 1 second. They'll be on the back of Brad Arthur. But likewise, if they start winning games, he will rightly be seen as the saviour.
Yeah, good counsel. My point to proving this, not again, might surprise many when I say this. It's now time for Harry Newman. I think we all agree the guy has got so much talent. Do I think he's hit the heights that he's capable of? I think he made a big improvement last year in terms of his temperament. I'll say that. I really did see an improvement in his temperament. I think, Sean Wayne's input into that at England level probably played a part. So credit must go a little bit to the England camp with regards to that. He now, for me, has to elevate himself in terms of his prominence in this side. Really is. Obviously Ash Hanley and Cam Smith are co-captains this year. I get that, but for me, this is the year that Harry Newman has got to step up. He has to step up. Greg, who are you excited to see, mate, in the Leeds team?
It's a difficult one. It's because I'm going to be a bit boring and a bit mainstream, but I think probably Brodie Croft because I think he's, but for a few games, he's yet to kind of live up to his potential. So I'm hoping I could have had him as a kind of point to prove as well. But Brodie Croft, I think he again, like Connor, I think he's got to perform this season.
Good shout there from Alex. Allwood obviously going down 9 places in the pecking order. I mean, that's a good shout, Alex, to be fair to you. I've got to give you your due on that, no doubt about it. Steph, your same question. Are you excited to see this team?
Well, I would have said Jared O'Connor. I thought Jared had a great season last year. Obviously, he's been struck by MCL. Is it? He's done, so he's going to miss a big part of it. But obviously, I will go back to, when you're paying 300 grand for Brodie Croft and Andy Ackers needs to step up. And I think he especially with Jared's injury, he's going to be key to how Leeds do this year.
You had to get him in somewhere, didn't it? Wouldn't be a show without Lee being mentioned, would it, mate?
I don't know where that came from. And Andy Ackers, I know a few have said it in the chat, and I think Alex has actually said it in the chat as well there. But yeah, like I say, when you're spending that kind of money, I think he was a big disappointment last year in terms of what we all expected him to do based on how good he was at Salford. So I think he's got the potential, and with that less of a pressure of not having Jared there, he knows that he's got to lead that team from the hooking perspective. So it's going to be really interesting to see how he goes. And if he starts firing, he's got the potential to really get Leeds going.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, no doubt about it. In terms of excited to see, there's the obvious ones, isn't there? There's the obvious ones in there. I mean, had this have been 3 or 4 years ago, it would have been Mika Sivo. I just want to, look, Mika Sivo, this guy's he's not the player he was, but he's still a hell of a player. Very similar to Rhino in the fact he's a big, big unit. If this guy's in full flow, 5 meters out, good luck. Good luck is all I would say. 115 NRL appearances, 104 tries. That's remarkable by any standards. 58% win rate, runner up in the grand final a few seasons back. My concern for him, of course, though, is injuries. I just think that the injury he got a few years back has slowed him down a little bit. Is all I'm going where he's concerned. However, if he can capture his old form, this guy could be one of the signings of the season. So judgment is out in terms of what this guy can do. But if he can get to those 2022, 2023 standards, this guy's a guy to watch. Whilst we're at it, just do a final comparison. You mentioned Palacia. I'm concerned here as well. And, this is, I think Leeds' pack last year struggled in terms of its size. I mean, we know Lozone is a big unit, but he can only do 10 or 15 minutes, stints, and what Holroyd, when he's fit, does give you his extra minutes. We know Michalajewski can do good minutes. This starts 28 at the start of the season. Again, got everything going for him. But here's the very similar to Mika Sivo. Mika Sivo got an MCL injury in 2020, an ACL in 2021. That's Mika Sivo. Keenan Palacia, he's had 5 surgeries since the age of 17. He's done his ACL. Yeah. He's had 3 knee reconstructions. So I don't know if Leeds fans are into this level of detail, right? That's the reality. That's the reality. Now, don't get me wrong. Brad Arthur will know this guy very well. Same with, and he's worked with Mika Sivo at Parramatta. But my concern here for Leeds, before Leeds get, and look, we need a competitive Leeds. We Leeds. We need a competitive Leeds in Super League. I just reserve judgment on this side. They could, if everything goes well for them, and these 2 new players stay clear of injuries, they could go well, and they could easily finish in the top 6. They could easily finish out of it as well. It's a real interesting one, this, for me, this season. Really interesting. So again, we will watch it every step of the way. I'm looking forward to the rugby coming back. Right, let's go rising star, Greg.
Oh, again, a difficult one for that one. I said O'Connor, but he's got injured. I'm really struggling with that one with Leeds, you know, because
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what Brad Arthur's got in mind. Yeah.
A little bit of Monica in my life. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, Jeff. I
A
don't know.
little bit of America by his side. I don't know. Go on, carry on.
Probably Morgan Gannon, maybe. On the fringe,
shout. Good
on
shout.
the fringe, on the fringes of the first team, and you know, and somebody's put Riley Lum in the chat.
Yeah.
But, Morgan Gannon. I think did he go from Warrington, Morgan Gannon?
Yes, he did. Oh no,
Yeah,
no. Was he? Oh, was he? Yeah, I think he might have done actually.
Yeah, I think he might have done. I'm sure
somebody.
His
brother. I think Morgan's his brother. We had a Gannon. Right. I don't think it was Morgan.
Right. Well, whatever. I think he's got potential to be a really good player, and I think probably now that Jared O'Connor's not there for quite some considerably more. If Morgan Gannon gets his chance, I think he might do pretty well.
Steph, same question. Who's the rising star?
I'm going to say Alfie Edgill. I seem to remember him last year coming in and scoring a few tries for looking like a really good up-and-coming young player. Obviously, a really young lad, an academy prospect from them, which is great to see. I think that's probably, from Leeds' perspective, these young players that are coming through are looking really good. And I think that's probably where I'd be most optimistic for them. But yeah, I think he's probably one of the ones we haven't seen lots of. I think he's probably the one I've been most. Him and Riley Love is a good shout as well. Another young lad who
again
really
a player that I've seen quite a lot at reserve grade and academy grade. Ned McCormack. That's a player that I think this year is one to watch. There's one for you. This is why you watch Super League Raw. We know what we're talking about here, guys. We don't just talk about the Brodie Crofts and all the rest of it. We get into the detail. Some of these young kids that are coming through, very exciting indeed. Key player, if Leeds are going to get anywhere this season, who's the key man? Greg? Can't hear you, mate. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I do apologize. I said it before, key man, I think Jake Connor.
Jake Connor
got a point to prove.
Right.
I really, really do think he has got a point to prove this time round. This might be his last chance saloon.
Maybe.
So people might think that's controversial, but in Jake Connor there is an absolutely fantastic player waiting to burst out on a regular basis, and for whatever reason he's been inconsistent over the last few years. So I'm going to go Jake Connor. I know people might think that's controversial, but for that reason, I think he has finally got to up his game. I think this could be last chance saloon for him.
Do you know what? Craig Forfell was chatting about Jack Sinfield to come out of his dad's shadow. Look, and I'm just going to say this. I think if it was going to happen for Jack at Leeds, it would have happened. I think he's been on the fringes for far too long. I think there's too much pressure on the lad. I think he needs to move. That's my personal belief.
I was going to say that.
Jack Sinfield needs to move. For his own career. That's my view. If it was going to happen, it'd have happened. He's not. He just doesn't get enough game time. And when you see the likes of Matt Frawley coming in, who, let's be fair, has not pulled up many trees in many stints in Super League. I think when you're a young lad, especially when you see what's going on with Leon Hayes at Warrington, that he's getting his head. And you look at Jack Farriman, who's been in and out and been given his head, and I think he's another one who might need to move in the short term, whether that be on loan or whatever it may be. I think if it was going to happen, it'd have happened by now. Sorry to say that, but hey.
For me, I think a great move for Jack would be to go to London.
I just think he needs to go out of the bubble that he's Leeds. I think he needs some proper game time. That's just my view, and I might be wrong. That's just my view.
I'm just thinking with them losing Meadows. I think he would, and under Mike Eccles as well, who's a fantastic. But I think there's quite a few players now that have gone to London on loan and come back a lot better players, and that could be a really, really. But I do think he needs to go to one of the top Championship clubs. This is what I'm saying, with a bit of money behind him, and obviously with the takeover that's potentially happening at London.
Steph, very mindful of time, mate. Did you give us a rising star, a key player for these?
Keith plays Broadcroft, obviously.
Yeah, and you know what? In a very similar way to Dufty, I think Miller's wouldn't be far off. I thought Miller transitioned well last year, got stronger as the season went on. He's a player that's got it in him. It'd be interesting to see how he goes this year as well. But you know, I think Alex saying about Jack Sinfield being only 20, get that, mate. But like I say, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. And if I'm wrong, I'll be like, hey, I was wrong last year with my mate over at Castleford, wasn't I? And I put my hands up on that. But that, you know, it's all about opinions. That's my opinion, rightly or wrongly. There you go.
It's all about opinions, sir.
All about opinions. What a night. Another brilliant hour and 55 minutes of rugby league chit-chat and merriment. It's been fantastic in the chat tonight. Do join the membership. If you haven't got a QR, if you can't do the QR code like Sarah, go to www.patreon.com/Super League Raw. Become a part of this community. We've got so many events that we're going to be doing in 2025. Loads of good stuff. Under the floodlights for members. There's a lot that's going to be behind closed doors as well. So news reports are going to be behind closed doors. There's a lot going on behind closed doors on our members only area of YouTube this year. So like I say, we give you 7 days worth of rugby league each and every week. Got some cracking stuff on the way, all the usual shows, all the rest of it. You don't want to miss it. So please do consider joining the membership. But guys, yet again, couldn't do it without you. Greg, it's been outstanding. Again, massive thanks to you, mate, for what you put in there for us tonight.
Cheers.
And the
Cheers,
best,
mate.
all our love and support to you and to John. Hope everything's tickety-boo.
I appreciate all your best wishes, guys. Thank you very much. It means a lot.
You're a gentleman, mate. Steph, mate, as always, pleasure.
Yeah, really enjoyed it, and well done again for last night. An absolutely outstanding interview. You know we're biased, but for me, one of the best interviewers of
gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back next Tuesday, back to our usual spot, 8 p.m. on Tuesday. If you're members, don't forget as well, next week you've got your social club. That's back on Wednesday as well. Yes, we have a social club. So on a Wednesday night, our members come together like this to discuss all things rugby league between them. It's a great community we're building here at Super League Raw. You want to be a part of it. That, of course, will be there. And, of course, all the shows are just weeks away. The full repertoire of Super League Raw is about to be unleashed for the 2025 season. You want to be a part of it. From us to you, thanks for watching. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See ya.